And I've just gone to City of Mist to run into a brick wall of 26 players and all these other players looking for a group. Isn't that wonderful? My god. This is days.I Games. Welcome back to another Project 1999 EverQuest video. I am playing as Sarkiss, my level 44 Iksar Shaman. Yeah, I'm doing a bit of waiting. I went around to all the groups, asking each person inside of the zone. A couple of people were just fooling around. 2 people at the, I don't know all the names of the places. I used to know. Stables, they're just somebody was helping level their friend and waiting for this person, Godot. I don't have much time. Actually, my wife is leaving in an hour and 10 minutes. And yeah, this is... I mean, I'll keep trying when I can all day. But I have to look after the kids for several hours, so... And then tomorrow, she's working, so she's a nurse who has 12-hour shifts, so it's slightly impossible for me to make a video. I mean, I can play sometimes. It depends. It really depends. My little 1-year-old, he wanders around. There's a lot of toys down here. This is like the man cave. Half of it's devoted to the kids. And there's a TV. I can put on cartoons. But he gets bored usually after about 20 minutes. So he comes up to me and starts... he wants to be held and sit and watch what Daddy's doing. And so it doesn't make it easy at all. I mean, I can play, and this is what I did during last weekend. I leveled up Tarek's to 40, so I've got 2 40 characters now. Tarek's my Iksar Shadow Knight. Took him from, I mean, I think 2 weeks ago he was 37, now he's 40. So that's for me, that's pretty damn good. So I'm in Hell level now, but I actually got him up to about 52% in Hell level. I was trying to get to 41%. I just didn't have time over the weekend. I just had to go, and I wanted to do this one for this weekend with Sarkiss in City of Mist. It's a good place. Sarkiss is 44, as you saw in the previous video. And nothing really that great. I've got a new DD, and I tested it out. It does about the same amount of damage, maybe a teeny bit more, like 20 more, than my best dot. But it's also like 200 mana. My best dot from, what was it, 39, I think, does... almost the same amount of damage, but it's 160 mana, so... And while a dot is working away on them, I can always, you know, rest and recover more mana and canny and stuff like that. So I'm waiting for this person, Godot. I don't think that there's anything else that I can really do here. I mean, there's also a 45 Druid. I'm not sure. I mean, I think it depends what you're doing. Personally, I don't like Druid class because of reasons in Classic and how I used to fight them all the time back on the team servers. But I think they're a decent class. I just don't know how group-friendly they are compared to a Shaman. I think Shamans are slightly in the lead in that regard. I mean, they have their ports, we have our pets, we have... I'm fairly certain their buffs are close. I don't think that they're as good as the Shamans, but I think that they're a close second. So they also get dots. They get some nasty dots. Shamans get nasty dots. I don't know whose is worse. They're a pretty close class together, actually, truth be told. There's not massive differences. I just think the biggest one is that they can port, and we have a green pet. That's about it. Yeah. But, yeah, I'll wait. Talk to several people. And, at least I'm getting responses. For the first 5 minutes, no one was responding. So I'll wait, and we'll see what happens. I want to make this video. I can always hold it off. I mean, I could do this, save this for another time, and just show Tarek's, I suppose. Okay, I'm narrating this on Monday. I actually recorded this on Saturday. Of course, I like to get one of these out every week, and So I'm bringing you like a 2-hour version of this today. It'll be my longest EverQuest video on my channel yet. But it's all about City of Mist. I made it into a group I was with for about 3 hours. And as you can see, I didn't talk about it, but I actually lost my level waiting at... Oh, how could I talk about it? Yeah, I forgot. That all happened after the beginning part of this video. Okay, yeah, while I was waiting, I had the volume up and I was looking at other things. And then the game froze when I went back to it. And like I couldn't, it was just a black screen and I couldn't get into it. And apparently I had died in the meantime. I didn't find out till a few hours later when I went to see if I can't get another group in there. And I died. So I had to run from Cablis. Yeah, I could have bound myself right outside, but I don't. I bind myself in Cablis. That's just me. Anyways, so I think I was down to 91% of 43. So I had to work my way back up to 44, which does happen in this video, I believe, yeah. So by the end, I think I'm level 44, 19% into it, so it's not that great of experience for about 3 hours, but it's not that bad. It's just okay. This is a bit of a stressful place. I didn't realize it, that you'll see some major train come through. Fortunately, in this video, I do not die. I have not died since I tabbed out and didn't see how my character actually died. Wasn't very happy with that. Yeah. First thing I did when I logged back in Friday night is "Rarg!" in the shout in the zone. So, yeah, I was not happy at all. But it's good. I made a group, and I didn't think I was going to. Saturday and Sunday, my wife's working all day shifts, 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m., and it takes her an hour to get there. So it's like 14 hours of just watching my kids. Well, a little less because they don't get up till after 8. So, yeah, it's not a bad spot, but yeah, I couldn't record, I couldn't narrate because the kids were in the room, and I was actually at times really stressed out while making this video, and obviously you're not going to hear it, but my kids are fighting and crying, and one of them had to go to the washroom several times, or my older one had to go to the washroom several times, and there's no washroom in the basement, so we have to run upstairs, and I'm not even sure how I did that for the video. If there's a pause for like a minute, then and I'm not doing anything, then you know what I was doing. But yeah, he can take care of himself. I just have to open up the gate. I can't have my 1-year-old who will just start climbing the stairs, and he's not exactly sure-footed, so he's fallen back. He's fallen down. He falls down all the time, but climbing the stairs a few months ago, he fell back on his head, and it was only up like 3 steps, so we don't really want him unsupervised climbing stairs, so so yeah, the gate's up, so I can make this in relative less stress. But yeah, they're always wandering around the room, such as my 1-year-old to come up to my chair and want to be picked up and held. I think I may have been, was it this video? Or rocking him to sleep. Yeah, I think at one point I was. I'm not sure if it's in this video or after I stopped the video, but yeah, I have to look after him, so it's really hard to make videos. But I did my best, and I'm in wolf form here, obviously. I gave myself a last name, Dark Scale. I'm gonna give that to all my characters. I figure it's fitting. Doesn't really work with my half-elf rogue, but I don't care. He's gonna get it. Dark Scale. Wonder what was my original last name in Classic for Sarkiss the Shadow Knight. Sarkiss may have been Dark Scale. I don't know. It's been about 14 years. The tanks are good. Everybody is really good in this group. I had no complaints. Everybody knew their stuff. Until it came... You'll see it. I got a little frustrated with our cleric. You'll see it. Akasa, the druid to my right, she didn't really know the zone. I barely knew the zone. I've never been this far. It's called the moat area. It is as far back as you can go. Problem is, you have to, there's a point where invisibility no longer works because there's undead right next to live mobs. So, like the golems, if you can count them as live, but they can't see through regular invisible, but the undead next to them can. So if the undead charge at you, they'll bring the live ones with them, like the golems. So when we had the train, a couple people in the group did die, so it was hard to get back, especially when everybody's... Or when the tank goes in alone. I guess the mobs were broken at that time, so they weren't up. So he was able to go in alone and wait for us, but... I think this is a safe spot. Maybe to the left, going up to the corner, it's a little bit more safe. But just a lot of mobs along the bridge. Other than the big golems, are they fog golems or whatever? The rest of them are undead, so like there's the apparitions and there's these plague bones that we're fighting here. They're fairly tough, though. I noticed it taken quite a while to burn down the mobs, even though we had a mage. And I think that's actually 2 warriors. To the left, the other wolf, he's a warrior as well. I think he's less... He's the puller, basically. And he did a really, really good job throughout the time we were there. But he left about an hour before I stopped with the group. But it all worked out in the end. And so the big ogre, he's basically the main tank. So the other warrior will pull the mobs. And then he'll try to taunt them and get them off. Do a lot of canny dancing. I spent the next day, after this Sunday, I spent probably about 5 hours. Somebody had mentioned getting the Shrunken Goblin Skull Earring, and it's really weird. It just goes to show you how random this game is. So I showed up at the Goblin Fort in Warslick's Woods. There was a warrior there, an Iksar warrior there. I thought he was a monk at first, but he was a warrior. And he was like 22% hit points and going down. He was just trying to destroy all the mobs. So I showed up, I start giving him a regen and heal him a few times, and I start buffing him up. And I asked him if he wouldn't mind if I could help him until he's done finding all the Gracchus, the destroyers he wants. So I spent probably about half an hour, 45 minutes helping him. So he was looking for the Shrunken Goblin earring too. So he left. He was a little frustrated. Guess what? The next 2 Gracchus Destroyer both dropped the earrings, so I have 2 earrings. I'm going to sell one I'm going to try for 3k. Give that to Terex and my Shadow Knight and try to get him a haste belt. So that the mob in that drops haste belt is quite a bit above. I think it's level 42. I went over this with ZK from his channel, Brandon Childers 100. Yeah, we talked about it, and he told me the mob is 42 and there's undead and live mobs around. So it's really difficult for me to do it without a group. And then even if I do get a group, I have to have a lot of time to get in there and hope that we kill the mob, and then I have to hope to win the roll. So this is not something I can do. I mean, I could try, but it would take a long time to do it, and there's just still no guarantee I'll ever get the roll, win the roll. It's attacking me right now. So it's worth about 7k. If anybody is watching this and has a haste belt they want to sell for cheaper, I could trade you 3,500 plat and the earring. But I just have to make up 500 plats. So it's around 700k unless you want to sell it for cheaper to me. But haste belt, I will be needing that. 21% increase in speed, so I'll give that to Sarkiss. He just has the purity belt from the Sisters of Irulasi on Sister Isle. Still, bit of a ghetto belt, but it's not bad for somebody who's just starting the game. Doesn't have anything. So, yeah, leave me alone. Fog golems on me. What I was trying to do every time was slow them. And I found out the hard way that these guys like to resist. So I was probably getting about 30-40% resists around there. So what I decided to do, and I'll be going into my spell book. I'm not sure if I've done it yet, or I will do it, because obviously I'm not doing it in real time, not commenting on real time. So I figured out that it costs 170 mana to cast slow Togor's Insects. And if I get resisted, that's a lot. So, I mean, that's at least twice. Sometimes I was resisted twice. So, what I decided to do is throw a Malazement on them, which costs 100 mana. And there was a few times I was resisted even throwing the Malazement on that, and even after Malazement was on, I was resisted a few times throwing Togors on. So it's very mana intensive. And then they're wanting these buffs all the time. So without without any kind of clarity on me, it was really hard to keep up. They were pulling mobs really fast. So please excuse my voice. It is early in the morning. I'm trying to get this video out. It's actually not that early. It's actually 9:30. So it's not that early. But my voice likes to do this for the first hour or two in the morning. So sometimes I refrain from recording videos this early, but try to clear my voice out a little bit. It gets a little deep. A little too deep sometimes when I wake up. So depending on how good of a sleep I've had, I think I slept pretty much like a rock last night. So this video is about the only thing I can make for today, or finish up for today. I actually finished up my Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition. Finish it up, the storyline. So it frees up some more time for me. I plan to do other videos outside of what I'm doing here and there. I don't plan to make a new Let's Play. I'm gonna look into, like, there's Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition came with what's called the Black Pits, and I plan to see about if I can make a story out of it, because all my other videos except for my strategy ones are basically in character story based games. So it takes a little bit of planning and thinking about what I'm going to do, how my character is, his background, all that before I get into it. I don't think that there is one with the Black Pits, because you have to make up a random party, and I don't think that there's any stories, but I'll look at it. So if I put out any more for that, that's what that's about. It'll be about the Black Pits. But that's finished, and see, the thing is, I'm not going to continue until they come up with there's an expansion coming out for Baldur's Gate, if you can believe it. The original game came out in '98. It's called Siege of Dragonspear. Beamdog, who's made the Enhanced Edition for Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 and Throne of Ball, they're doing it. So it's no longer a BioWare baby, but Beamdog seems to be doing pretty well. I think the original guy, is his name Trent Oster or something like that? He was in there creating Baldur's Gate originally. I think he's the lead developer on Beamdog. So there's Baldur's Gate in the spirit. Some of the guys, or at least one guy, was in it. So yeah, it's a 25-hour expansion, and it's coming out for the Enhanced Edition, not the original one. And it has no release date. So I'm suspecting maybe the middle of 2016. And I mean, obviously, if you're just watching this video now, and it's into the future, this is the date is the 12th of October 2015. So yeah, so I'm waiting for that to come out before I continue on, and after that I'll continue on with Baldur's Gate 2 and then Throne of Ball, all Enhanced Editions, finish that off. And it's going to be pretty epic. It's going to be like 100, but this one was 141 videos for Baldur's Gate 1, so I suspect that between them all it's going to be around 400 or so videos in total when it's all done. So yeah, so I'm waiting on that. Frees up a bit of time. And then Pillars of Eternity I'm hoping to finish up. Dragon Age Inquisition, I'm probably about 2/3 through it with all the DLCs that came out. There's 3 new DLCs. I finished one, Jaws of Hacken, and I'm working on the next one right now, The Descent. And then there's one after the main campaign's finished. So that's going to take some time for me. So I'm never going to have three RPs going at the same time again. It's just too much. So 2 RPs, 1 strategy, and then I plan to keep with this EverQuest. I haven't really been looking into EverQuest Next ever since I heard that the Sony Online was sold off. I'm really unimpressed with that. I've mentioned that before. They were doing some really innovative things with EverQuest Next, and maybe they'll continue on. Maybe it'll work out just as good. I'm not happy with Sony. I think what they did was pretty lame. I'm not happy with them at all. Yeah, so there's a point in the video. I think I'm going to. Sorry, it's my wife dropping stuff upstairs. I'm going to. We get a train, so we have to leave, and then trying to get back. I think I pulled the train on my own twice more. Somebody else in the group started a train. I routed the mobs, and then others got me, so I pulled that. So I was it's about a half an hour or maybe 40 minutes of just a foobar trying to get back in place. After the original train came, nobody died after that. So there was, I think the cleric and the druid did die. No, I'm not sure. I think at least 2 died. I know that the mage died. The magician dies. But I survive, just barely. You have to see it. It's pretty crazy. I don't know how the big ogre survived, but he does. There's apparition. There's those slimes. I forget what they're called, the exact names. Goo? Pile of goo or whatever? Puddle of goo? Yeah, they show up. And I'm not sure what happened here. How the heck did that happen? I don't think anybody ever actually figured it out. If you know the moat area, maybe you would realize how it happened. But all I know is I'm trying to debuff the mobs and give or at least the tanks buffs going. And then suddenly there's like 3 or 4 goos come in, and then after that there's like 3 or 4 other mobs, and yeah, we have to bail. And running away through the bridge is a stupid way, which I realize that now, so don't critique me, because I didn't know this area. To my right there's a ramp on the other side of the little canal, and you can just swim to it. Takes a second or two, well, especially for an Iksar, a second. And then you just go up the ramp and then take off. But I went along the bridge, and hey, I lived, so. Lots of these fog golems. I think that there may have been a few mobs that were even to me at 44, or was it 43? I think it was 43. I actually cannot see. Yeah, I can see, just barely make out my XP bar, because I'm seeing this in the smaller screen in the editor I have, Adobe Premium Plus CC, whatever it is. Yeah, it's really small, so I could see the general things or what's going on. I can hear the in-game sounds, but I cannot actually read anything. Okay. Excuse me. Just had to clear my throat there. Yeah, a lot of resist from these mobs. I think that they're all, I'm gonna guess all 40 to 43 in level. That's probably, that would explain why I'm getting all the resists. Malaisement, it helps somewhat. I don't know if it really was the answer, but I think it helped a little bit. It would have been very, very, very minor. So I know I've had people ask for groups, more grouping videos, or at least one person did. And said he didn't really like my solo and duoing videos, which I haven't done many duoing videos. I was doing that with Needs More Buffs in a couple of videos, maybe 3 or 4 videos, but some of those were quests videos, so I needed the help because I was a little bit above my head. Especially, I think the worst one was the Can't Need 2 spell. That was, if you see some of the trouble I would have gotten into, I just couldn't have done it at, what level would I have been, 30, what level do you get Canny to? Is it 39? May have been 39. Yeah, I like the heal. I kept on getting this heal over time, this hot spell from the cleric. Very nice, I wish I had it. Heals me. I couldn't even keep up cannying with it at times. Oh, my wife is cooking bacon upstairs. Okay. I want to eat. Finish this video off first. Yeah, it's funny. I killed my first 2 Gracchus destroyers. I killed them. Both dropped the earring. So I'm trying to learn how to do the canny dance along with it. So I'll cannibalize and hit the earring. So I put it in my inventory, or sorry, on the hotbar. And you have to wear it. And then I'll use that, the earring, then I'll canny, then the earring. And sometimes I see it going faster. Not the bars moving faster, but the recycle time is gone. But other times, it's like hit and miss. I'm not sure exactly the most efficient way to use it is. Still trying to work it out. And I spent probably about 5-6 hours trying to get more. I was actually after the totem, or I wanted 1 more earring and 1 totem. Nothing else dropped. In fact, I had this guy, I assumed that he was in his 50s, maybe 60. He was anonymous. I never bothered asking, but he was a bard. He came in. He also eventually, a couple hours later, brought in another buddy who was looking for the earring. They were both looking for the earrings. At that point, I just, because he can clear it out with me so much more efficiently, I just said, okay, fine, you can take an earring. I just want the totem. So I was there for about 5-6 hours. Nothing dropped. Absolutely nothing. We must have killed 100 Gracchus, the destroyers. And there's absolutely nothing dropped. So I had to leave. It was like 1 o'clock. Maybe, no, it was around 2. I had to go. I had my 2 sons with me the entire time, and running up, and I had AFK quite a few times, and run up and get their foods and take them potty, and but it was pretty miserable. I was getting stressed out after a while. It's just not fun doing it when you have. It's one thing to have a 4-year-old. He has his needs. If it's just him, you could take care of him easily enough. But when there's a 1-year-old who needs a lot of attention, and you can't really stay up that. He may stay up for 2-3 hours, and then he gets really tired and wants to have a nap. So he's very much a little baby. He was 6 weeks early, so I have to. He needs some extra care. Of course, he's very young. Love them both to death. 1-year-old, he requires a lot of attention. So there was at times I was rocking to sleep on my chest while I'm one-handed playing with the mouse, trying to still send my pet was doing all the work as I got back up to 44. He was doing probably 95% of the work. Buff him, set him off against all the mobs. It's interesting how you can target a mob, attack, and keep going around in a circle. Like you can do 5-6 mobs, and he'll in turn take each one out. And I like that. The only time he ever got in trouble was with Gracchus, the destroyer. Gracchus was level 32. I assume my pet is around 30 to 32. Can't be. I don't think he's 33. Because he would be blue to me. But Gracchus was green. There was this pit fighter Daub in the Goblin Fort in Warslick's Woods. And he is blue to me, and I actually got experience out of him. And before the 60 joined me, I actually was up to 25% experience. Got 6%. If he hadn't come, I probably would have gotten around 50% eventually. Maybe even more. But with his help, and he was clearing stuff out. His speed song, holy crap! Silo's a Celerendo. Wow, it's like Sao on steroids. Like I felt like I was going 3 times faster than Sao. As he's zipping around the Goblin Fort and I'm on it, I'm like, wow, this is really fast. It was just awesome. And then when it wears off, it was like I had no Sao on, but even though my Sao was still on, it was like I was just running encumbered after that. So bards get really, really fast, and I guess you get used to that. That's holy man. There's a few times where I was trying to cast Sao in here, and I had forgotten. It's hard to concentrate when you have kids running around. You'll have to read. I can't even read what's going on here in the comments. Whatever I'm trying to say. I changed the font, so it should be easier to see for you guys and everyone. So it's still Arial. It's just it's not Arial Black. It's Arial something. The words are just larger, or sorry, the letters are larger. You should be able to see everything. I'm hoping. I haven't actually taken a look at this footage because it's still raw footage yet. It's not been encoded. And so yeah, I have Terex up to level 40, like 51, 52% into level 40. Really, I tried to get him up. I think I've already said this, but I just didn't have time on the double XP weekend. He's in hell level, so that's pretty good, and I think that was all soloing. Or much of it was soloing. I may have gotten around 20% actually in that group I was in. And into 40. And then I got another over 30% soloing. It took me a few hours. I just didn't have time to do it, unfortunately. And it sucks, but I went from, in about a week and maybe 8 or 9 days, I went from 37 to 40. For me, that's pretty epic. And I plan to... What do I plan to do with him? I'm going to give him the earring. I'm going to have to, I guess... He's going to have to go and sell it. Maybe, you know what, I'll hold off on that. Earrings 3k approximately. 2,500 3k. I'm going to try for 3k. I really need the plat. And I need to save up about 500 plat before I feel comfortable trying to go for haste belt. That'll be everything he has, so that's quite a lot of plat. And Sarkiss here only has about 500 plat. So I really don't... he's going to keep it. I'm not going to transfer that. So Terex will have to make it up somehow. So what I plan to do is to go into Delner and finish... I think it's all. You have to go into Delner for the next weapon. Iksar Shaman weapon quest. I think it's all done in Delner, actually. Or pretty much. You have to forge some kind of dagger or something like that. You have to kill 3 mobs. And then you have to somehow get a hammer and then put it on the forge inside of Delner and then create this thing. And when I was trying to do it before, I was just too close. I think it was 35. Even 37 is too close when the mobs are 32. Now that he's 40, I think that's a lot more comfortable. I can send him in. I just don't like down there. At least the entrance area, I have not plopped down into the inside where the... They're not Sarnaks. They're kind of like Sarnaks. I forget what they're called. They look similar to Sarnaks. The creatures in there. There's a lot of them. And it's a bit of a maze. I wrote down what I need to do probably end of last year, end of 2014, to get to do the quest. And I'm kind of looking forward to it, although it's a little bit scary. I have my, what do you call it? Circlet of Shadows should help. I don't know if there's undead in there. I think there may be a few ghosts, apparitions or whatever. But for the most part, they're all living. So Circlet of Shadow will really help. Thank you. Very much needs more buffs for that gift. And so I'll go in there. I don't think it's the kind of place where you need your pet. And I have not been using... I definitely have not been using Feign Death enough at all. The times I've used it, they haven't worked. And somebody had told me, as their monk, they need to turn off auto attack. Obviously, my pet needs to die as well. Because they'll just turn on my pet. And I think once my pet's done, they turn back on me, if I remember that from Classic. But anyways, ditch the pet. And turn off auto attack, then Feign Death. It actually saved my butt. Completely saved me when I was soloing with Sarkiss, or sorry, with Terex Shadow Knight. I tried Tiger in the over there, and the Tigers are all around level 40. I think they're around 37 to 40 or 38 to 40, and so it's really hard to land any spells on them. And this one was blue, so I assume it was 38, 39, and it was actually winning the fight, even though I harm touched it. Sometimes Harm Touch does like 7 damage. Other times it does like 400 damage. So yeah, it's very random. But Harm Touch didn't really help. I think it took it down to even health because it was beating me by about 20% hit points. And then I just decided, you know what? I'm going to try this thing. Turn off auto attack. Ditch the pet. Feign Death. It worked. Saved me. So I'm going to have to keep on practicing that. When you go into a dungeon... like down there, I remember what I did. There's a way out in the bottom, very far deep into it, and I was really a brave guy back in the day with going in there on my own. I must have done the weapon quest, because this weapon quest I'm pretty sure I did do back in Classic. So I'll go in there, and there's just all these whatever Sarnak-like mobs all over the place. And there's a lot of Feign Death thing I have to do that I remember doing, and a lot of casting invisibility on myself. I didn't have the Circlet of Shadow back in Classic. I was on the team server, Talon's X, so it's a little bit hard to get everything, unless you're in a Panda guild, which kind of defeats the purpose of being on the team server. It really does. And if they do implement a team server, for the love of God, Rogian, whatever, however you say it, please... at least have the dark races unable to group and or buff the lighty races. At least make it light versus dark. That was fun when it was working like that. Or if you're going to have team servers where it's all the shorties versus the elves versus the humans versus the darkies, for the love of God, at least... I'm not saying for the love of God, but at least if you're going to do it like that and you're not going to have dark versus light, please make it so the teams cannot group with each other and or buff each other, because it just there's no point. Eventually people aren't stupid. They're going to figure out what the best way to do this is. Have a guild with all 4 races. Somebody won't be able to attack the cleric, who is part of their own team, if you're fighting them, and they'll always be able to heal. So you'll always be able to outdo other guilds, other people. You'll always be able to screw them over, especially when you mix the teams together. And that's what they were doing. That's what they call them, panda guilds. And they just destroyed any point of having a team server. Is what it would turn into. Is when I left, all the guilds were turning panda, all the big ones. It's just, yeah. So I mean, there's rumors about a team server. There, I leveled back up to 44. Yeah, so there's rumors of it. Just please do something about this panda thing. I actually really like the lighties versus darkies. I really like that. Of course, I was always an Iksar, so I was part of the darky team. It was fun, but you have to realize the game itself is not set up properly to use teams like that. Even if it's light versus dark, so just one team versus another team. Especially if it's 4 teams going, which is what it was originally created for. They can all, elves can fight dwarves and halflings, and gnomes can fight humans and darkies, and of course. So the only team that gets 4 are the darkies. So they have Iksar, ogres, trolls, and dark elves. So yeah, it's not set up for it. And why I'm saying that is because to get what you need for quest items, you need to raid a zone and kick out the other teams there. Now, if you're not part of a large guild, or part of any kind of decent guild, you're just not going to do it. So it requires more teamwork. And I didn't have that, actually, when I was playing. You have to also realize this is my first MMO back in the day. So I didn't really understand things. I think if it's done now on Project 99, people will, they'll get it. If they can't make panda guilds, then they'll get it. All the guilds need to cooperate with each other. So there will probably be big alliances of guilds per team, however it's set up. Because you just cannot get it. There was things like in Mistmore I needed for my my Iksar weapon, Shadow Knight weapon, and I just couldn't get it. My guild wasn't strong enough. I think I was the highest in my guild for a long time. They couldn't support me in it because they're all too low. And here I was in my 40s wanting to do it, and there's the only way to do it is going by myself. And that's just super risky, because how do I get my corpse back? But they have rules, like if somebody comes in for a corpse run, you don't touch them. They're not strictly enforced, of course they weren't back in the day. It's not like, oh, he killed me when I was, they call it naked, running back to your corpse. And you don't lose anything from PvP experience. I think, unless there's something like if a dot's thrown on you, you could lose it. Anyways, you don't lose the XP from just getting killed randomly. And so it's not like a huge loss. You just have to run back while you are running back to your corpse. So run back to your corpse, gather. Usually you drag your corpse to the zone line, loot it, and then take off. No, there's no waiting for a freaking cleric to come in to res you, because you're out of there. You were killed. That's the rules. So, and you have to leave right after. You can't hang around. You can't get your items back and then go back on the attack. You have to leave. That was the old rules, and they weren't were not strictly enforced by the GMs, of course. But that's just how it was done. No, yeah, because it's a wood elf, so he has to be a warrior. Pretty sure the other guy. Yeah, he's back in the group with us. And I've lost my wolf form. Yeah, I kept on casting Salem on myself. I was like, why isn't this working? I was thinking because it's an indoor dungeon, but it's actually not. It's an outdoor dungeon. I tried to shrink myself at some point, and it says you have to be in an indoor dungeon. So I did cast Salem myself eventually, and it did save my ass. So I think that's it. It's just a tiny little icon on my editor's screen. I think I have it on the second buff. Yeah, I was trying to keep up. You really need, for what I was doing, an enchanter to help with the clarity. Well, we were waiting for our group to get it back into the spot. Some high-level enchanter gave me clarity too, which helped for a bit until it went away. Then in like the last 45 minutes, I wasn't recording at that time, but we had an enchanter come and sit down because I was going to leave, and he gave everybody clarity, so that really helped. So clarity, as far as I'm concerned, is kind of a necessity when they're pulling as fast as they were pulling here. But for all that they were pulling, I found the XP pretty low. And I only have the 20% racial penalty, XP penalty, so I've always... Shamans don't have a class. They've never had a class penalty, so... So nothing's changed with Sarkiss. A hell of a lot's changed with Terex. It's like I was cheating on the double XP weekend. 20% XP penalty, that's just for his race. No class XP penalty and double XP. Even when soloing, I was getting 2 to 3%, mostly 3% at 39 per kill. And I probably got half a level just from that. So I was just cruising along with the XP. It was pretty good. I wish I could have kept on going, but unfortunately, double XP weekend only lasts so long, so... And there's a point where I actually run out of room on my hard drive. I think it's coming up. It's around the 45-minute mark. So you'll see a bit of a disjointed thing come up. I had to go clear out all the old videos, raw footage, which was already encoded and put on my backlog to be put on my channel. So... No, all in all, it's a good group. I just was a little bit frustrated with Cleric. She didn't realize that when you cast a spell while you have invisibility to undead on, that invisibility to undead goes away. So when you're trying to get back, and she's casting invisibility on me, and to undead on me, she expects regular invisibility to be cast on her. Hey, that works for her, so she has both. But when I cast it, my invisibility to undead goes. And she kept on claiming it doesn't. Well, it does. It's a fact for anybody. Put on invisibility to undead on yourself. Try to cast any spell. It will go away. That's just how invisibility works. Regular invisibility and to undead. They both work that way. She didn't get that. So there was a bit of a... Because she was able to do it, she was able to go in with both invisibilities. She just didn't quite understand why I couldn't come in. There's always going to be somebody left out, unless they're not part of the group going in, so... A little bit frustrating. What I think I'm going to do is... I'll show you how I survived the train that eventually comes up. I couldn't tell you at what point it comes up. But I'll cut it, because it's about half an hour, 40 minutes of trying to get back to the spot. It was really frustrating. But this is going to be approximately 2 hours, and... let's see... Where am I? Oh yeah, I'm almost at the cutoff point. Where, ran out of space on my hard drive. So, and then the rest of the video is an hour, 18 minutes. I really don't know how I'm going to narrate this entire thing, considering I'm not in there playing at the time. But it would have been, it was impossible. All you would have heard was kids crying and the TV in the background, because I have to put on something for them to keep them entertained, and while I'm doing this. They'll play with their toys, especially the 1-year-old. He likes to play around with all the toys in the room. And he brings toys into my side, which is where on the other side of the couch. It's not that cramped in here, actually. I have my exercise bike to my left. To my right to my personal library of all my history books and fantasy books. And yeah, I've got a lot of sci-fi and a lot of D&D books from back in the 90s. Used to buy all those. So, I mean, it's my side. And on my... kind of, it's like a natural, not a natural, it's like a shelf, and then there's the window. It's not a very big window, because I'm in the basement, so below ground. Partially below ground. And I have all my games, the game boxes up there. Which is kind of becoming a thing of the past, considering that, how, you know, with all the downloaded content. I have Steam and GOG. There was the other one, which went all Steam afterwards, I think. The one from not Bethesda, Paradox. Yeah, the Paradox Development Studios, like CK2, and they're putting them all on Steam now. I guess it's just easier for them. So I mean, it's Gamersgate. Gamersgate, not Gamergate. So a lot of people didn't know the difference. Gamersgate got a lot of hate mail. They're like kind of like they're not really like Steam and GOG. GOG has its own version of Steam now. It's kind of neat. And like the just I don't know what to even call it, the user interface or where you all your games are, and to buy new games. It's similar to Steam. But Gamersgate didn't have anything like that. It's a little bit rough trying to download everything. Like if you have a game like with a lot of expansions, which Paradox likes to do, you have to download each individual expansion on your own. And some of them have, like Crusader Kings probably has about 80 DLCs, not expansions. They're all little for the most part. But yeah, it's really time consuming. I figure that, and that's their game with the most DLCs. I'm not sure why, but they just figure it's easier to put it on Steam, so they went all Steam, which is fine. And they give you codes for all your DLC, so you can transfer that to Steam. Thank God, because I had all these expansions for the game, and Steam just does it on its own. Like you own that. There it is. There's the cutoff right now. Nothing. You didn't miss anything, but like a minute. Nothing happened. I'm sure I could come in and the resist would be really bad. I may be able to do some... I'm not sure if they're the same, if they're fog goblins or if they're mist golems at the entrance. But there was a paladin that came in. He was red to me while we were trying to get our corpses back, and he was actually pulling a few... What he would do, and this is the smart thing, and I had forgotten I could do this to Undead with my Shadow Knight. You can, like, harmony the mobs, and then just pull whatever you want. Work like clockwork for that paladin. It's pretty awesome. I don't know if if it works on undead with paladins or clerics, but Shadow Knights, they have a specific one for just undead. So, like when I was in the heck's the name? Unrest, and I was trying to do the tower with the hags, I had forgotten that I could do that. So I could have actually... Sorry, wife making noise. I could have actually pulled one hag at a time, or one mob at a time. There was like a werewolf that would spawn in the middle between the two hags, so... I don't think I get experience for that now, because I think the hags are like 29, level 29 or 30. And he's 40 now, so I think that they're probably green. But they could be the light blue version, even so, it's nothing for a level 14 hell level. So yeah, this goblin earring, shrunken goblin earring, if you don't know what it does, that I was talking about earlier, what it's supposed to do is while you right click on it, and it's like instant casting time. So I guess like it just gives you a minor buff, and your cannibalized can kind of like ride, as far as I know, ride that instant casting time. So there's no recycle time between cannibalize. That's the theory. Though I was practicing with it, it was like every second or third one actually worked for me. So I need more practice with it. It's hard to do that when you're trying to kill all the mobs and you have kids in the room. And I practiced when I could, but I just need solo time, like real solo time, to figure these things out. Really hard to do it when you have to look after your two kids in the same room. So it's just not a time where you can try to figure out stuff too well, especially when you have somebody in your group and you're trying to run around and kill all the mobs of the Goblin Fort. I actually had a bit of fun. It would have been better without having to look after the kids, but you know, it's frustrating when you're camping something for so many hours and so many of them pop up. Like, you can have 3 Grachniks at once, and there's like 7 different spawning spots for them. And I've seen 2 at once before. I've heard you can have 3 at once. And yeah, so nothing drops. But the gloves, Iksar scale gloves, which are pretty good gloves, I have to say, for under 30. It's still debatable whether it's better than my Dread scale gloves. It's got strength to it. Strength bonus. I'm not sure if it is, but I've held on to it. I really think that it's lower, so you can only get 1. I really think that if it wasn't lower, they'd be handing out those in droves in the newbie zone, because they just drop almost every time Grachnix dies. It says, I think it says common or uncommon. If it says uncommon, that's really wrong, because it was like virtually every one. I think you can maybe count on one hand how many times we saw him die without anything, without the gloves. And there was about 100 of them we killed at least. But we kept that goblin fort cleared for that many hours. And yeah, nothing. It's frustrating when that happens. I want to get Sarkiss in to get like, there's only 2 things I figure before planar guild, or planar equipment for Terex, the Shadow Knight, and that's one of them is the belt, and the other one is his cloak, like what goes on the back. And I want to get that one that drops in Miss Moore, which was hard to do with Sarkiss. I tried to bring him in there. I believe I've talked about this before. The mobs, because there's undead next to live mobs, that they'll both come. So with Feign Death, I think that I could be able to make it in there to where I want to go with Terex. So that should be okay. And then Feign Death and Circlet of Shadow. Awesome combination. So I should be able to get it where I want. And the mob is... I'm not sure what level the mob is. Why does 32 keep popping up? I think the mob is around level 32. Seems to be the universal level that all the mobs are that I'm trying to... that's Gracchus Destroyer's level 32 as well. And the mob I'm after and down there, one of the first mob was level 32. So yeah, a lot of level 32s come popping up. They were at level 43 with Sarkiss, 32 was green. So I'm going to guess that 40 is still blue, probably till level 43. So level 42 would be 10 above. I think at level 42 is still blue, very, very bottom end. Terex should be able to do it. He should be able to take that camp site. I'm going to try that one day. Yeah, if I had all the time in the world, I'd do it today. It sounds like a lot of fun, actually. But the down there thing, I'm a little intimidated about, because I really remember cutting it close. I don't think I actually died down there. I don't think I died down there in Classic, taking my Shadow Knight down there alone. It's just really ballsy. It really is. And I'm intimidated by it. But I've done it before. And that was back in the day when I'd print out the maps. Print out the maps. I don't think I actually had a very good printer. I had a printer, it wasn't very good at the time. But I think, because I was a computer lab monitor as well. And at a university while I was taking courses. I was able to, especially at night when no one else is there. Sometimes there would be no one there. Actually, I fell asleep a few times, actually. Because I worked from like 6 to 9 at night. And if no one, sometimes no one even show up. So there was times when I actually would print out all these maps. I totally get away with it. Wonder where all the ink went. But all these maps to EverQuest, that was a lot of fun. I made like these booklet size things. And if the map was so big, some of them are so big they were multiple pages long, so all the legend written on. I guess, I mean, based on the wiki now, everything's condensed to a small thing, but back then I don't know. I don't know why. I just remember some of them were really big. There was no Project 99 wiki to go to with all your information at your fingertips, so you had to go to multiple sites. I think Alakazam was one of them, and there was others. So yeah, I plan to get the haste belt. I planned for Terex, all these things for Terex coming up. He is my class. The Shadow Knight, Iksar Shadow Knight is my class race combo. That's my favorite. So the belt, the cloak, I guess is what I was trying to talk about for the back. And yeah, his weapon quest. I'm not sure how far I can go for his weapon quests. I'm pretty sure I can do the next one. See about doing the one after that. I'm not sure where it will take me. I really don't know. So I think that there's 3 left. Maybe 4 in total, including Green Mist, the last one, which I have not done. I kind of think that will probably take me to Velius. I haven't stepped foot in Velius yet. I don't know Velius at all. Like I said, I only went across like this skeleton bridge and I killed like a manticore on the other side. And I maybe fought a few other mobs, but that was it. A little nervous to do that back with the team servers if I don't know it. And I quit like shortly after that. So should be fun. I love snowy ice areas. That's my favorite, actually. I love snow in real life. I love it when the sun's out and the snow is, it just reflecting the sunlight just makes it really bright and cheerful, in my opinion. So I just love snow. Used to go skiing a lot when I was younger with my family. But I just love it when the snow's there. It just makes, for me, don't even think I've been to, what's the frozen area in Antonica, where the barbarians start. I don't think, is it Everfrost? I haven't been there in Project 99. I will have to do a guide on it eventually, at one point. There's comes a few mobs, 4 of them. I think that's about what the group can handle, because if you're smart, you can route them on their way. You can see them coming around the bridge. But that wasn't really up to me. I mean, I could have done it, of course, but I wasn't the one routing them. I did later on. Yeah, these guys are tough. I think that I'm about the lowest level in the group. I think everyone is up to 48, actually. I don't think there may be a 49. I'm pretty sure no one was 50. But I was very lucky to get in this group, because when I sent them well, like, what they would do is they would say, who's looking for group, or list your name if you're looking for group, whatever they shout out. You may even see this at some point in the video, I'm not sure. But, so they're asking for people who are looking for group to say who they are. But he was looking for DPS at the time. He said he already had a shaman when I talked to him. Funny enough, the shaman left when I first showed up. I'm not sure if that's at the beginning of the video or not, but it was a big troll shaman sitting there. So I came in and kind of just replaced him. I had all my 44 spells. I mean, I'm not much different than anyone up to level 44 to 48. So, I mean, I may have a little less mana, but my wisdom, with the fishbone earring in, it's 170, which is not bad, I think. So it gives me all the mana I need. I was looking at, for shamans, for cannibalizing. Here it comes. Here's the train's beginning, I believe. It's not just that one. Gyrating goo, I think it is. Okay, I rooted one. There's 2 in there. There's 3, 4, 5. Here's all the mobs. Yeah, it's time to go. Actually, it looks like about a dozen mobs. Get the hell out of here. I shouldn't have gone along the bridge, but I didn't know better. I kept on looking back, I think, if I remember right. Yeah, I'm getting hit. I didn't look back. Everyone's going. Go, go, go. Somebody's already died. I can't even see the name. It's the second person you can see. It seems, or 2 people have died, and it looks like somebody gated out. Oh, if it was the mage, if he gated out, which I believe that's what happened, then he did not die. Because he said he was bound in East Commons or something like that. Why do people do that? There's going to be trains. Inevitably, at just about any place, you have to be ready to... And especially if you're going to gate out. He probably thought, I don't have a hope in hell of running out. But I made it. Low on hit points, but I made it. Yeah, I hate dying. Especially in my 40s. Just hate dying. So much lost time. And I was ticked off when I found out, like, when I had alt-tabbed out and I guess some train came and killed me. I couldn't even see my corpse. When I came back, I had to have the corpse button. I had to keep on clicking that to find it because I couldn't see it all along the hallways. It wasn't even there. I must have died inside. The corpse must have gone into the wall. At least no one saw me for that night. Sometimes, like in Mistmore around the pawn entrance, I don't know how it happened, but somebody had said, "Oh, I saw your corpse there the other week." They leave a comment on my channel. Excuse me. Yeah, Patarn is part of the Dads Guild. I actually asked him at one point, you have to be a dad to be in Dads. He says, I don't know. He says, maybe. But I definitely fit that criteria. Yeah, so this goes on for a while. We go back in. Patarn, or Tarn, maybe the P's silent. Patarn, he goes back because I think all the mobs are dead, so he's able to do it. I do give him an invisibility, right here. Right? Oh, I give him see invisible, and then I give him invisibility. And he runs back in. There it goes. So he's able to get back in right where we were, because all the mobs are, like, destroyed. It's dangerous, actually, out here. That plant thing that just walked by, those things hit really hard. Actually, I died to it once, probably last year, waiting out here. Like, it's not a safe place. It's buggy. They go right through the walls. Like, come on. So you have to sit... There's actually undead. I don't know if undead actually wander this area, but there are undead out in the Emerald Jungle. And if I need to, I mean, I can camp the area outside Mistmoor. I can go be put on a list if I have time to do it. Like, that's not a bad way of just, you know, keeping the XP going and occupying myself instead of just waiting. I just frickin' hate waiting. It just makes me feel like giving up for the day. When I first started, it was the Friday, well, the footage, and my wife had to work at 1, like I said, and I just couldn't... I waited for about 45 minutes, and it's to the point where, well, I had no time left to make a video. So I just said, when the screen went black, I figured I was still waiting where I was and know I was dead. I just figured just leave it. And I didn't come back. I did log in later, but when I found out my corpse was gone, I just said, oh, screw it. I just do not feel like doing this right now. So yeah, I waited till the day after, which is Saturday. So I will be putting out another video this week for Saturday. I'm going to try to do it. There's no guarantees. Like I said, I couldn't get in on the Friday. My wife had things she had to go out to do, and I just didn't have time to do it. So yeah, this goes on for quite a while. I think at this point I'm gonna stop the video and restart from where we actually get back to where we were. Holy crap, did I ever cut out a lot? Maybe it was an hour trying to get back to where we were. The video is only going to be about an hour and 38 minutes long. Yeah, here's the paladin to my left. He's pulling them. He's using, if I can remember, it's Harmony, but they don't call it Harmony for the cleric spells. I forget what it's called. But anyways, he was doing that. He's pulling them. And that's really awesome. I'll have to remember to do that. But, you know, I found with that spell that you can actually... It could fail and you could aggro the mobs on you. So, I mean, I guess it's a risk you have to take. Be ready to run. But probably for the most part, it will work. Oh, the reason I know that is because Valkale. Why did I forget of my Dark Elf Cleric? I forgot I have a Dark Cleric. I was thinking my two main classes are my 2 Iksars, Shadow Knight and the Shaman. But and then I have the Rogue, I was thinking. But I'd totally forgotten about my Cleric, which is... And then I have the Wizard, too, the Dark Elf Wizard. So... I might make I'm gonna make a few more wizard videos at some point. Not anytime in the future. I'm going to be making Terex videos, I hope, after this questing ones, and put in a few guides and probably some more Terex videos. And so we because the magician took off. I think he just gated out. You guys would be able to see clear because I thought that he died, because you can't tell when you zone out. And then he was just left in East Commonwealth. And then he logged out. He didn't even come back. He said something like, I'm going to try to get a port back. But then he logged out. So whatever. So we get a necromancer to come in. Yeah, he's pulling... He just pulled an undead mob. So with that undead mob gone, I'm actually able to get over there. There is undead on the bridge, but... You'll see the cleric. She'll say that if I come near to where the ramp is, right across the little canal from where the group is hanging out. So you can see the apparitions on the bridge. That she'll give me an invisibility undead, and I can just run over. Oh, you know what? You may be able to jump up from the canal. Jeez, I do it in Cabalist all the time. I don't think anybody has at least tried it. It wouldn't hurt to try it. Yeah, so I could have just invisible. But if there's an undead, you hear the ramp is right to my left, right there, behind me now. If there's undead, it really screws up trying to get back if you can't have both invisibility undead and regular invisibility. Well, all I need at this point is invisibility on... Oh, no, there's a golem there, so... Yeah, I would have... If I thought of it, you know, just thought of it now, I would have tried to... If I thought of it then, I would have tried to jump up. Because you could do it with the canals. Just go up to the bottom in the water and face up and then just keep jumping up. Or just push up. You just automatically start jumping. And on the other side was 3 undead mobs, so... Because there's 2 ways to get here. On the other side, too. There's just... Yeah, if I don't have visibility undead, there's just no way for me to do it. Kind of impossible. It's just frustrating when people don't understand a game mechanic that, by your 40s, you should know that. And then she uses it against you, like, well, why can't you do it? Well, that's the way the game works. I'm not the one that wrote the rules to say, if you have invisibility on you and you cast a spell, it goes away. I didn't make that rule up, that's just how it is. Don't try to argue with me about it. And she says, no, it's not how it is. Well, it was how it is. Why would I screw around with that? I just want to get back to my group and get XP. Get the group going again. So I just don't understand that mentality. What she should have done is like, oh, I didn't know that. You just go with it, you know? And then test it yourself, and if that person wasn't... If they were wrong, then you say, no, I actually tried it, and, you know. Just try to be logical about things instead of just telling them no. It does work that way. And she has that spell, she can test it all she wants. I have a cleric as well. And I can cast invisibility undead. I think I can. I think I can. I know I can with the class. I'm not sure if at 20 you have that spell yet. Oh. Actually, I'm pretty sure that I do, because I remember at Unrest running around with that on. Not 100% positive, though. But when it's going to screw a game up, because I had to keep on running out trains. Oh, my son's calling me. Yeah. He's calling me. I hope he doesn't come downstairs. Okay. Anyhow. These apparitions, I think, were a little bit lower level. They were a little easier to deal with. They died pretty fast. They're still blue to me. I'm not sure if this is the highest area, because if there are mobs that are level 43, say 40 to 43, it's not... That's a good way of getting up to 50, because the level range with which you can get experience from increases as you go up in level. So I think at level 50 you can get from 12 levels below, so is it 38? Or is that 60 is 12 levels below, so 48. I'm not sure, but something like that. Maybe even 15 levels up below at 60. So like 45. Yeah, I had fun. If I had known that the time to get back would have into the group would have taken so long, I would have recorded for like another half an hour. I was hoping for a 2-hour version, but yeah, so it's not 135 minutes. It's just one, because I'm looking at the encoder. It says 55, then 1 hour, then 105. Yeah, so it's just 1 hour and 35 minutes of about video. And one day I will go to Valais. I'm pretty sure that the Grimace Sword, which I really, really want, it's basically the Shadow Knight Iksar Shadow Knight Epic. I will be getting that. And yes, I know that there is a Shaman Epic parts in this place. No, I did not look up what I need. Nothing dropped, as far as I know here, for Shaman in this at the moat. But I'll have to look it up. I know at one point during the video that I was talking to ZK, Brandon. He has his own channel, Brandon Childers 100. Really good guy. I like him. I wouldn't mind grouping with you, by the way, ZK, one day. I mean, I'm level 44, but I can't do the stuff that you do. Obviously, you would have to be lowering yourself. If you have any class in your 40s, I'd definitely group with you with my 2 mains. I shouldn't say 2 mains, but technically that is true. Sarkiss, the Shaman, is one of my mains. He's my highest level. Now, I just would one day at least be able to get to 50. I guess at the rate I'm going, eventually I will. It might take a year or 2. I hope not. But I level slow. And I would just love to get up to 50. That was always something I wanted to do back in Classic, at least get to 50. I got to 48. It was my highest level. Without a good guild in the team servers, it was really freaking hard. Like, Mistmore is where it really killed it for me. I think the worst thing about the game was losing this dungeon. And when I say losing it, it was lost to the Darkies, because the Lighties, they all like to group together, was not in the Panda Guild, so kind of refused to take part in that nonsense. Lighties took this dungeon over. I used to come here every day to level up with my Shadow Knight at the time. And then every day, no, it was about once a week, you get a raid. You have to be ready on the team servers for a raid to come. People, you have to constantly monitor the chat, because people will start shouting out that Lighties are invading. So either you go and you face them, which we would do at first, unless it's a well-known nasty guild, that, you know, you're just not going to stand a chance. When they hit a dungeon to clear you out, they're going to come in hard and just wipe you out. So you go and face them. So it started happening. It was average when I started about a weekly basis. Then it happened a couple times a week, and then it started happening every day. So you could also die and lose experience doing that, because if you're fighting a mob, there's no rules that saying they can't come up and kill you. So we did strive fighting them off. We did. They were usually, on average, for everybody here, there wasn't as many people here as you see. Like, say if there's an average of 20 people, 20 to 30 people on a busy day on Project 99 inside City of Mist, there was maybe on average around 2 groups. So about 12, maybe a little bit more. I would say between 10 to 15 people on average on a busy day on the team servers. Because you have to remember, it's all Darkies. So when 2-3 Lighty groups show up, and no, there was about even numbers to us, I remember at first. Problem was that I'd be fighting yellows and reds, and they did outnumber us in terms of levels, outlevel us, on average 2 to 3 levels above us. We were outclassed. We really were. We tried. We took a couple of them down, but then really didn't do much. And I just remember this little warrior, I think it was a gnome warrior, total in metal, shiny metal armor. He was dual wielding, little bugger, man. I really that guy really pissed me off, and it wasn't just once. It was like 3 or 4 times I fought him. He was on different days. He was the one. He always came after me, because maybe he saw the Iksar Shadow Knight. Figured he'd try to take me on. A little bugger. I won't forget that. I don't really have much against gnomes. Don't really have much against any race in the game, per se. I just don't like the druid class. So, and I've said this before, and you have to realize, think about it, because a lot of people don't have the PvP mind, orientated mind in this game. The reason why I don't like druids, and they were a very commonly played class on the Talon Zach when I played 2000-2001. The reason that they were played so often is because they can snare and they can dot you. So what would often happen is you would get snared first, and they'd dot you. And then they would proceed to kite you, because they have Sal. You couldn't, as a melee class, you couldn't get within range of them. So with my Shadow Knight, we do have our own version of snare. It's a dot snare. It is not as easy to land on players. I don't really get too many resists when I'm fighting blue mobs. And snare virtually almost lands, virtually every time, on players as well as on mobs. So think about the difference. If it's like 3 times as hard for me to land a snare on them as it is for them to land one on me, if my snare does not land on them, I'm running around trying to chase them snared. I can't do anything. I have been snared before, I remember, and I snared them and got within range and killed them. If I can get within range, and if they actually, and I snare them, there's no way that they can win against me, because I would have a shield. I would actually even switch my weapons over, because usually, quite often I use 2-handed swords as my Shadow Knight. Shield is best, because you can shield bash them, and you can interrupt their spells. So, with Harm Touch as well, it's a really nasty, and your spells, it's a nasty combination. Druids would just fold, if you can snare them and get within range. But just think about it, at any given point when you're out, unless you're in your city, even if you're in a dungeon, it's not as easy to kite you in a dungeon, though. But I'm just saying outdoors. Get snared, dotted. They'd run up in with Sauron or in wolf form, it just happened all the time, and that was the reason why I just grew to dislike them massively. I got in so many fights with druids. It's just, and I died a lot. I'd killed quite a few of them too eventually. I just, whenever I would see one, if they were within range of killing, because eventually, like, you couldn't. It was 8 levels below, 8 above, and if they were within range, they would just con as even to you. You really didn't know what level they were exactly, but I would go after them and murder them. With extreme prejudice, every chance I had, unless they were. If I was solo and they were with a group, obviously not. I'm not stupid, but if they were by themselves, I would go after them. A few of them, they died so fast they didn't even know what's coming. But the first thing you do is you go up. Remember, invisibility is on you at all times when you're wherever you go. But it didn't really help. It was just because so many people would just have see invisible and invisible on all the time. Yeah, I'd go up and I'd snare them. You may have to take a couple casts, and quite often they wouldn't know where it's coming from if you come up from like behind or to the side or whatever. But so if I successfully snared them, I'd then run up, start meleeing them. I remember one druid actually tried to melee me back. Boy, did he die fast. But I don't, like, if they're caught like that, I don't think that they have much hope of doing anything. They could try to maybe root me and then step back. No one tried, and then gate out, or just root me, step back, and then dot me up. But no one actually, I don't remember that ever happening. I think root's pretty hard to land on players. I don't think it's an easy thing. If I remember right, it's not like I have much practice with that. Yeah, so there's no more trains that happened when I was here, so you don't have to worry about that. But that's the number one reason why I dislike druids. It's just because the annoyance factor. And before they made it that thing where if you con them and they're even within range of PvP, they would always still just run up to you. Because if you're blue to them, they don't know, right? If they're higher level and you're blue to them before that even conning thing came in, you would they wouldn't know, so they test you out by just snaring you and dotting you up. I used to have necromancers that would come up and do the same thing to me as well, but necromancers, see, the casting classes, I think wizards were the best for PvP. Not one-on-one in an enclosed arena, of course, but I mean, I don't ever remember magicians. I remember a few necromancers, but magicians would just die so easily. I don't even think they get any kind of crowd control ability. They would just be dead. And then necromancers, you would think that they should be okay. I remember quite a few of them in my guild. The darkies always would have more necromancers than the ladies. I think humans, erudites, and gnomes are their classes the races that can have necromancer classes. But all the darky classes except for ogres and trolls, the two darky classes, dark elves and Iksar, that had necromancers in droves. So I don't remember fighting necromancers really. But wizards could, because they could they have like that, it's some kind of shadow step version or whatever. They can zoom around, and they have ice, what is it, ice strike or whatever? Ice Comet? Yeah, I think it's Ice Comet. I never fought the higher 50s. I don't think I did. The end 50 levels. They get like a Sunstrike or something like that, or whatever it is called. It's even more powerful. I never had that land on me, but Ice Comet I had hit me quite a few times. It's actually not as powerful because its spells are nerfed. Were nerfed on the team server. I think at all PvP servers, spells only do 2/3 damage that they would do to mobs. So I was getting hit for like what, 480 or something like that per Ice Comet hit on me, which normally would do 600 or something, if I'm remembering it right. And I had like, yeah, I was able to just shrug a lot of it off. I didn't even realize till after I looked at the what was actually hitting me. So it said Ice Comet. So, because the reason I bring that up is because when I first started EverQuest, Ice Comet was always my goal as my wizard. So, I was just really surprised I was hit so many times with Ice Comet. And it's actually not a bad spell to use against Iksar, because they're kind of prone to, unless you have some kind of buff on or resist to cold, they're prone to cold damage. But it didn't really hurt me that bad as Shadow Knight in my 40s. I remember that. I assume that the wizard I took on was level 49, because I think you need to be 49 to be able to use Ice Comet. But it is a little bit unfair. Darkies don't have that much access, because there's... How many races are there? There's 9 plus 4, so 13 races in the game. 9 races are the lighty races, and then the other 4 are darkies. So I would say about 65% of the server population were lighties. That's actually a lot of darkies. There were a lot of darkies. Much of Kunark was darky when I played on Talonzek. They did change that. Like, we lost City of Mist, but things change, right? It doesn't always stay the same. They have to actively raid this be here in good numbers every day. And it just eventually drove all the darkies away. No one came here anymore. Why? When you're just going to get murdered. So, I lost this dungeon for my original Shadow Knight back in Classic in 2001, and it just... this is the place to go. This is one of the few places to go if you don't have a big, mighty guild that you're part of. There was one that I kind of wish now that I joined. Some people from my older guild joined it, and they actually I grouped with them quite a bit, and they're pretty good guys. I'm sure I could have been allowed in. They were probably one of the last big guilds before everyone went Panda. Probably the largest, if I remember right. I don't even remember the guild name. Darky Guild. And I regret not joining them. Had I joined them, maybe I could have played on for at least a few more months until everyone got sick of the Panda Guilds and quit. Or made one of their own, I guess. But I regret not doing that. I think there was a whole bunch of stuff going on. Like, big stuff going on in my life at that time. That was about middle of 2001. I was also, if you can believe it, I'm not sure if I said this before, I was a GM. Just like a one in training. I only did it for like 2-3 weeks, and I gave up on the game afterwards. But I was being trained as a GM in the game. I had my green name and all that going around. I had that, and we were moving. I had broken up with... Me and my ex had broken up about a year and a half before. No, not even a year and a half. It was April we broke up. This of 2000. This is about June. This is July. No, this is August when I actually moved. August of 2001. The reason why I'm saying this is it did have to do with the game. I did quit the game around that time. I was looking to this Anarchy Online as the next big MMO. A lot of people were excited about, especially considering it was sci-fi. It did bomb in the end. I think that a little like 10,000 player base type thing was going on for about 10 years. I'm not sure if it's still going on now, but they even made a bunch of expansions for it afterwards. But I played it for about 3-4 months, or maybe about 6 months, and gave up on that game. But that's where I transitioned from this. No, I don't even think it was that long. I think it was a few months, and then I went to Dark Age of Camelot after that, and that came out late, like October or something of 2001. So I did buy it to get into it. I kind of hate to say it because it's really a nasty thing that happened. Yeah, I don't like saying it, guys. I've never said this before online to anybody on my channel, but this did happen to my ex, and it did affect me. Her best friend was murdered, and I had known her best friend the entire time when we were together. And it was actually her common law that murdered her. It was happened in her home. He was what do you call it? Like a temporary, like assisting fireman or whatever. Not for the city, but for the outdoors. Because we lived in a place that would get a lot of fires during the summer, out in the woods. There's a lot in the Okanagan that gets very, like Kelowna is where I lived. It gets very dry, and there's a lot of. It's a little bit different from where I live down here on the coast, where it's a lot more wet. We live in a temperate rainforest down here in Vancouver, but in Kelowna. They knew a volunteer firefighter. That's what it was. Yeah. So it's not like he got paid or anything, but I think he wanted to become a firefighter. But eventually, he just lost his shit with her one day, and this is about over a year after we broke up, and he chopped her up with one of his axes that he had as a volunteer firefighter. I went to, I saw it in the newspaper. It's weird. It's so weird how these things in life work. I never read the free local newspaper. One day I come home from work, I picked it up, and I saw someone had been murdered. Just continued to read the story, saw her name, and I just went into shock. So yeah, I actually went and told the police everything I knew about her family, and they didn't suspect him at first. He had claimed that somebody had broken in while he was out and did it, but eventually they found out, I guess through investigation and stuff, that it was him. I went and told the police everything I knew. I just had this really strong feeling it was him from the beginning, and eventually he was convicted for it. So no idea what's happened to him since. It has been 14 years. Canadian law is a little bit more lenient on just about everything than Americans' law, so I would think at most he would probably get 10 years, because it wasn't premeditated. I think he just lost it and just did it without even thinking about it. Not that I'm excusing it, but I'm just saying that's what happened. So yeah, between all that, the reason I bring that up, it's just all this stuff happened at once. I moved from Kelowna down to Vancouver. It's about a 4-hour drive. Depends how fast you go. For me, I've made it in 3 hours, but I was speeding the whole time. But yeah, 4 hours, and totally different environment. It's really a lot of humidity down here compared to the dry Okanagan. Okanagan sits above Canada's only desert, so it's how dry it is. It's not a big desert in Canada. It's just like the tip of the start of a desert that goes down to the States, but like the Osoyoos area is where Canada's desert is. But so very hot during the summer, very dry all the time. And you can actually feel the moisture change driving down from up there at a certain point around a small town of Hope. And when the forests change around you and it just gets really, a lot of humidity comes in, you can just feel it. It's just kind of funny, actually. But anyways, so we moved, I moved down here, and yeah, changed games, gave up. There is another thing I don't think I've ever said, that when I was being trained as a GM, and I could not tell you what server it was, this EQ had been running for about 2 years at that point, or just over 2 years. There was NPCs walking around. There's this whole actual zone that was just for GMs to hang out in, completely separate from the game world. You had to port in and out of there. And yeah, it's just stuff that I don't think most people know about. So there were NPCs walking around, and people, either I or somebody else had asked, it was like a class, we're all sitting down, somebody was standing up and just typing out in the chat what we're to do as GMs and the rules we had to abide by. They said don't touch the GMs wandering around. I don't know why you can run up and talk to them. I didn't, because we're told not to. But the explanation was that those were people, and there's at least 2 of them, may have been 3. Those were people who were GMs, were very dedicated. It was either the server or the game. I kind of suspect it was to the game. And they may have been on every server. I'm not sure about that, though. That had actually been GMs, and they had died. So they had kept, in real life, they had died. They kept the NPCs with their names that they had as the GM, just wandering around. You know how NPCs will walk around. They would just walk around the GM zone. I found that a little bit interesting. It's something that I don't know if anybody even knows about, but that's how they had it. Doesn't look like he even has a bow. He's got his hammer as he's shooting his arrows. Hammer in one hand. Yeah, I left this game for Anarchy Online. I just think at the point where I was with what was happening on the team server, I was just sick of everything. And the Panda Guilds, between the Panda Guilds and not being in a guild that could do anything and losing City of Mist, that's what really drove me out. It is an awesome zone, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it in my 40s. It was really, really good. I was a tank, the polar, always the main polar. People would know me for a month or 2. I was here almost every day that I could get on. It's what you can do when you're just working. You don't have any kind of life, no kids. No wife. I didn't even have a girlfriend at the time. Though I did have one shortly before I moved out, so... Yeah, dating after being with somebody for 5 years was not easy at all. Really not easy. There was a couple really attractive women from work at the time. I was a little bit spoiled where I worked across from Kelowna's main beach. Kelowna's known kind of as a resort for people. If you don't know what it is, it's a very beautiful place. Skiing and stuff during the winter, summer water skiing. They have like this casino they put up in the mid '90s, and I think even the Prime Minister came to stay at the casino slash hotel there. These giant dolphins out in the front. I forget what it's called. The name of the place, but it was Kelowna is a beautiful place. This is where my family basically lives still in the area, and my close family. I don't. I moved down here and stayed down here in Vancouver for work and education. Found out I didn't like where I tried to become a programmer actually, and I found out it's not that I didn't like it. It's just that I couldn't pay the bills while doing it, so I had to work a lot, and I couldn't keep it going, working and doing school. School started taking more and more time and to do it, and I was started out working 30 hours a week, and then it went full time. I couldn't do both. It's just not me. Some people can do it. Some people can take all their classes and work full time. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. Couldn't keep up. So I had to make the choice. No school or school, or no school or fail. So it's just like I didn't have the time, and I was also having a lot of issues with insomnia at the time. So I would go to school. Sometimes I didn't sleep for 2 nights in a row, and yeah, try integrating any information inside your brain and keeping it with no sleep for 2 nights. So I had to give up. There was just no way in hell I could do it. So I remained down here, and I do have uncles down here. I'm not really that close with them, but kind of down here on my own. Where I was working for quite a few years in construction, and then I met my future wife. So yeah, so my family's down here. She's got a lot of her own family nearby, so we see them every week, a couple times a week. So at least the kids have that. I literally have not seen my mom in over a year, and I hate that. I'm actually really close to my mom. I love my mom very much. So my dad, I'm estranged from. I don't have any contact with him. So my sister, we're not exactly as close as I'd like to be. She's got 2 daughters of her own, and a stepdaughter is like 13. I'd like to be closer to her, but unfortunately, distance and how busy we all are kind of precludes that. But I do talk to her every few months. She came down about a month ago, and I saw her for the first time in like almost 2 years. So maybe sorry, over a year, just over a year. But yeah, my mom split from her husband, my stepdad. So she's having a bit of a hard go of it. So not in terms of the breakup, she actually is very happy now, but financially, because she's almost 60. She'll be 60 in March. So it's kind of a late time in your life to go on your own after being with someone for over 10 years. So yeah. Oh, I feel bad for her, but she has good contacts. She's in real estate. She's like the researcher. She does a lot of work, like the accountant slash researcher. She's been taking courses, and she's doing all right for herself. I just think money's tight, and coming down here, really without, she'd have to come down Saturday morning, 4-hour drive, and leave Sunday afternoon, 4-hour drive. And yeah, it's just really hard. So she's actually went and took a job up north in about the middle of the province. The province is enormous, by the way, guys. It's about 3 times the size of California. So most of the population lives in the not even the lower half, more like the lower quarter of the province. It's a huge province. It's like the size of many countries in the world. And lots of it's wilderness. Mountains, wilderness, and during the wintertime, it gets very cold in the upper half. And my mom took a job up, she's making okay money, not that great, but better money than what she was doing. She took it for about 4 months, so I had no contact with her by phone. At a resort, she was making some money doing that, and her old boss was good enough to allow her to do that. So... and she's going to come back and work for the same boss again when she comes back. She should be finished in a couple of weeks, actually. So the only way... if you don't know about this app on your phone, it's called... oh, jeez, what the hell? I have to look. My phone's right here. It's called WhatsApp. Now, she cannot text or use her cell phone, but for some reason she's able to use WhatsApp. Don't ask me how. WhatsApp is, you can send pictures, videos, and you can chat on it. So I've been able to keep in contact, but her internet is sporadic where she is. So if I send her a message, sometimes she doesn't get back to me in about 3 days. It's that crazy. So there's no direct phone line. Oh, there's a business line, but that's it. So I've been talking to her through WhatsApp. I sent her a few videos of her grandkids. I do actually feel bad. My grandkids basically don't even know her. Sorry, my kids don't even know her, their grandma. Especially the 1-year-old. I think he's seen her once. My 4-year-old's seen her a few times, quite a few times. But since breaking up with, it happened last January, so it's been close to a year now. Yeah, financially she's kind of strapped, so she has to work a lot. And, yeah, I just love my mom so much that I just feel bad when I think about it. It wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for my own kids not being able to see her, but yeah, I feel bad about that. But yeah, all these changes that happened back in 2001, that's why I stopped playing the game. And it was weird. It was really weird now I think of it, because Dark Age of Camelot definitely was an upgrade, but Anarchy Online wasn't. I think a lot of the mass appeal for Anarchy Online was the fact that it was the first sci-fi MMO, and a lot of people were eager to get into that. But they changed a few things. That's Funcom, by the way. They also did quite a couple of other MMOs since. They're a Norwegian company, if I remember right. But a lot of them were really ticked off. They're accusing the company of cutting every corner they can to cut costs. They came out with a new patch that drove like 9/10 of the player base away at some point in 2001. Yeah, that's a big mistake. But they did eventually, I think it crept back up to about 10,000. They have 1 or 2 servers going for quite a few years. I'm not sure if it's still going. What happens quite often now is, like with Project 99 EverQuest, people will, on their own initiative, create their own servers. There's WoW servers that were doing that even back in the heyday of Burning Crusade, when people said WoW was at its best. They would have their own private servers. No idea how they were able to do it, actually. It's probably not that difficult. But her Dark Age Camelot is now done, and Warhammer Online's done as well. Like, I mean, it's off. But I don't know about Warhammer Online, but I know Dark Age Camelot, somebody had told me that they have a private server similar to this going. And if I was ever to do another MMO, that might be it, because that was really a really good game. But I think that the video is over now, so it just went black on me. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Sorry for the ramble, but that's just how I make my videos. I guess it's called waffling in the UK. Apparently waffling in America is actually when you're undecided. Waffling in the UK means when you don't talk about anything substantial of any importance. But I'm going to end it here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again.